will magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. Early break.
There's quite a situation going on.
What?
Jake's been asked to step away on Fridays from now on.
Yeah,
they want to bring. Young Ben
situation.
has been dubbed as the curse breaker. He's been dubbed as the curse breaker, and Jake's been asked kindly to step away.
Just for Fridays.
Just
though.
Fridays.
Just Fridays only.
Game
day only. Game day eve only.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into the locker room, the most sacred of spaces in sports. Talking you through the behind-the-scenes conversations that happen behind closed doors. With former Nebraska football tight end Chancellor Brewington.
Chancellor Brewington, the 6-year senior tight end, finding his way into the end zone.
And former South Dakota State running back and Nebraska football assistant Mikey Daniel.
Hand off to Daniel inside the 2 to the 1, and he powers his way into the end zone for a South Dakota State touchdown.
This is The Locker Room, brought to you by App Foundation Repair. Here are your hosts, Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel.
Yes, welcome into the locker room for another day, a Thursday edition of the show. Plenty to break down here. Chancellor Brewington in studio, Mikey Daniel out today, but we still got a fun show ready for you. Chancellor, I'll throw it to you.
I hope everyone is having a fantastic, Thursday afternoon. I hope you had a good start to the day, and I hope you end the day just as good. This is the locker room. I'm Chancellor Brewington. That's my boy Bach over there. But Mikey Daniels is not in today. It's kind of just our day, Bach, to just rap about really what's been going on this week. As you see in the title, is this, exodus from Nebraska, the new norm in college football? And I think this is the question that's been, we've been talking about it on air, off air. We've had Gabe Irvin on the show this week. We've had James Williams. We've had people love the show. We've had people hate the show. And I love both perspectives, because as much as something is good to someone, it's going to be as much bad to someone else, right? And it's just there's so many interesting perspectives that you can take on, what's happening at Nebraska. We can talk about it from a glass half full or a glass half empty. I think the half full is that these guys are leaving. You're creating space for new players to come in. And have an immediate impact. I think the glass, half empty is that, guys like James Williams, are good players. And, them going into their junior years, they're probably going to take, that jump that people take from sophomore to junior, where they elevate their play and stuff like that. A guy like Prince Will, a guy like Mekhi Bayer. And you don't know, obviously speculation, there's probably going to be a couple more players who hop in the portal. That's just the nature of the beast. But what are your overall thoughts, Bach, this week? And I want people to chime in the text box and chat as well. Just like what are your overall thoughts this week? Are you concerned? Are you, as we talked about the reference with pulling the alarm, Kai Wallen hopped in the transfer portal yesterday. We saw him, kind of on that 2 deep D line. How concerned are you, if any, at that?
Well, I think I'm concerned for the bowl game. There's definitely concern there, just to be able to put it together and for John Butler to get a fair public example of what he would be as a defensive coordinator, I suppose, at Nebraska. Now, by then, they might either choose to have him full-time or have gone a different way. So who really knows? Again, all this stuff, a lot of moving parts here. But I think there are pieces here that I'm particularly worried about. I think Nebraska's pass rush, when Jamari left, it was like, oh no. But like you said, kind of glass half full. Well, at least, on those pass rushing downs, James Williams, I know they play different position, but Prince Well, James Williams will be maybe out there on the field a little bit more. Wait a day, and no longer is that true. Right. So, there are positions I think that are concerning, but at the same time, I think you kind of get this influx of, okay, here's 11 guys that are leaving the team that you didn't expect to, and it's frustrating. But you don't know the 11 guys Nebraska are going to add, throughout the season. And so all the anger you have at the guys that are leaving, understand that they're the guys that you're going to end up playing with and suiting up with next year are kind of probably going through that same thing as they're entering the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's a crazy time. This is a crazy time, and the question is this just the new norm, or is this kind of an outlier in the transfer portal, college football arena? And the factors that play into guys leaving that I can think of is, I would say, opportunity, like a Malachi Coleman, lack of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I would say lack of opportunity, but lack of usage in a specific skill set. A guy like a Prince will, a guy like a James Williams probably wants to play a little bit more. And then I think of guys that probably will excel in a different program or a different scheme. And that might be a guy like Jamari, or that might be a guy like Mekhi Bayer or Prince Will, those type of guys. And then I think about, Tony White leaving and how much that plays a part. And, he's kind of has that head coach feel to him at the DC. If you talk to a lot of the defensive players, they'll say like he was kind of the head coach of the defense, right? Just because of how knowledgeable he was and how hands-on he was at not only, linebackers, but also hands-on at, DBs, hands-on with the D linemen as well. And, him going to Florida State probably is intriguing to some guys, right? It's not like he's going to southeastern, southern Carolina, Western A&M, right? Like he's going to Florida State, and that's a prestigious program. They've done some great things there, and I think the last thing, and people, this is the question mark, and this is the thing I don't understand, and maybe it's from a lack of ignorance, not in to say like they're dumb, Bach, but like maybe the fans are just ignorant to the financial means that is possible for them, right? Because if I was to really throw out some numbers that some of these guys are getting, then you would, oh, okay, well, we could, right? And so I think that's a conversation in itself, but also it's like the type of money that a guy can get here and play here and get a better chance at the league than a Nebraska, just for a specific guy. Not saying it's that for everyone. Man, I think you would take it, and I think that's I put out a tweet and I was just like, man, I want to see these guys win, right? And I got flack. I was, we got flack for the James Williams interview, and it sucks, right? It sucks that some people feel that type of way. But you can't control everyone. And at the end of the day, I know Nebraska fans want Nebraska to be great, but a guy who came in, and did what he was supposed to do, helped the team win. And I'm not even talking about James, but all these guys, right? Gabe Irvin had 2 knee surgeries, man, blew out both his knees trying to, perfect his game and also, elevate the overall game of, the Nebraska football team. Those type of guys, man, like you have to tip your hats off to them and just wish them well. Because honestly, Bach, people who say like the people who say the negative stuff, probably not the most positive people in their own life.
In general,
yeah. So those type of people you don't really concern yourself with.
Well, and I think it's too, like, remember, especially with a guy like Gabe Irvin, I think maybe there's less frustration with that is because of the injuries. Is regardless of how long they've been of a Husker or whatever. I mean, they suited up and they played. All these guys have played, and so they put significant amount of time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears. Like we say, they've uprooted their life to come to Lincoln, Nebraska to give this a try. As Mikey was saying the other day, no one's goal is, I'm going to transfer out of here in 2 years or kind of see what happens. It's just situationally things happen. But I always think it's kind of funny, it's like, well, you're not a Husker anymore or whatever. It's like, well, they still legitimately are a Husker. I mean, they went through, they put on the jersey more than most of the fans that could say anything, or even myself. I've been covering the team for 10 years, but I'm never going to be as much of a Husker as Kai Wallen, who put it that, was a Husker. So, and I went to the university, I graduated. So I always kind of like, wherever you want to put in there. But as far as the Husker football player, it's just not going to happen. So I can be mad all I want, but it kind of is what it is. And I think you're right. I think it's just an adjustment too. I think from football fans now, in this kind of feeling that the house is burning down when it's just a long off season and you're going to end up with 105 scholarships.
Yeah, and that's the other factor is now after this bowl game, you're gonna get 20 or 30 more kids going to the portal, or I would say probably about 20 going to the portal, not on the same side of the coin as what we're seeing right now for opportunity and whatever. If they got going to the portal because they just got cut from the team, right? And so I don't know. I really don't know. Out of Makai and Kai, I mean, I can actually say this for confirmation that those guys weren't going to be the guys to get cut, right? So from the the 105 roster limit that the NCAA decided to do, which is it's so interesting, right, Bach? So they have done this thing where they're paying from 2016 to 2023 or 2023, I believe. They're paying all the players that play in the NCAA, right? So it's like a $2.2 billion fund, right? And it's kind of skewed that 70% of that fund is going to football players, right, during that time. And then most of it is, even within that 70%, most of it is going to Power 5, right? Okay. So it's like a triple-edged sword, right? But during this, it's like they do this thing for the former whatever, and I guess that's their kumbaya or their peace settlement with all of the NCAA athletes before, because you think about all the people, Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson back in the day, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, how much money they would have earned, right? They don't get the settlement check, but they just do like this little quick window of guys, right?
Yeah.
And then they pay X, I guess the payout, right? I guess everyone's going to find out. I submitted mine December 17th. We're supposed to find out the exact amount, right? Yeah. But they're going to they're going to pay us out for the next 10 years.
Okay.
So I mean,
slowly.
Let's say a person gets they played 4 or 5 years. They actually played. Let's say they get 300,000. Well, you're getting that in 10 years, right? So the checks are going to be a little. Let's say it's monthly or every quarter or whatever. Those checks are going to be kind of smaller. But I guess what I'm saying is like they do something quote unquote good, right? It's not really to the standard of good, right? But then on the flip side of the coin, they do this roster limit, and it's like, why? It's like, why? Because there's so many kids. I think of a John Bullock. I think of Alex Bullock. Those type of guys. Rula said this too. Those guys wouldn't get a chance no more. And this portal situation, I think this is why all the guys are hopping in now. I think people have to understand this is that come January, the portal is going to reach the most it's ever been ever. And it's going to be like this every January, or no, it probably won't be like this. It's probably just going to be most of these guys aren't going to, get on a team. But I think that's why the guys are hitting the portal right now, because there's going to be so many people in there. And you want to get ahead of the game. You want, the teams that have that are going out and recruiting, you want them to look at you first. You want to be on the top of the list, not the bottom of the list later in January.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And it's going to be a lot. And it's frustrating too, specifically as Nebraska fans, with the cut down to the 105, just because Nebraska is a program that has traditionally carried well above that, and you have that connection again with walk-on players from all across the state. Other places they don't do that. They already are close to 105, even less. And there's not a big like commitment to the state. You're just one of 3 state schools or whatever it is in Florida or California. Right. But specifically for Nebraska, it's taking a little bit of the lifeline, the heart, and especially again the connection to the fan of, hey, this guy, even though I'm from wherever middle of nowhere in Nebraska, this guy walked on and now he's a scholarship player. Maybe I could do that too, type of thing. So it's different, and every year, every month, every week, seemingly is a changes to college football, and Nebraska has to do their best to adjust to it. But there are certain rules that are going to hurt more than others, specifically to Nebraska. And this rule hurts Nebraska more than it does many other schools.
Right, and it does, and that's a great point. I played on a team. Obviously, it wasn't Power 5. I think it's 85 scholarship guys on a Power 5, and then FCS it's like 65, right? So you cut down 20, but even on that team, I mean, we only had like 100 guys, right? And that was normal. And I go to Nebraska, and we have a varsity, or not varsity, but a main locker room, and then you have like the B team locker room, and I'm like, there's 2 locker rooms. You guys have 2 locker rooms, and if you go into the OG locker room, they obviously have a new one now, but there's almost 100 lockers. There's more than 100 lockers in here. You're like, there's more guys to the team than this, and so it's pretty insane that it's going to this. When we come back, Bach, I want to tease this, and I want to really get into depth on this. Is with all these guys leaving, you got to bring pieces in, and how attractive is Nebraska to a high level recruit right now?
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff to think on. Before we get back on the locker room, coming next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CR-FR Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to look at their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right, most recommended Eustace Body Shop.
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see increasing cloud cover throughout the day with light winds and an afternoon high around 26. Tonight, mostly clear with calm winds and a low near 19. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds and an afternoon high near 46. I'm meteorologist Kyle Becker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, wanting to thank you all again for your continued service. November is off and running. Check this out. Get up to $12,000 off or 0% financing on select new vehicles. We have great lease specials with new Trax and Trailblazers starting at $299 per month and new Blazer EVs leasing for $399. Great payments, discounts, and of course, 0% financing. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All finance with approved credit, leases with $2,500 down.
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA fighters on Saturday, December 7th with Violence Fight League 2 at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Fights are scheduled throughout the night, and if you haven't been before, now is the perfect time to go with Nebraska football in between the regular season and a bowl game. Doors open at 6 p.m. with the first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in December, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book your holiday parties at Double Eagle Golf and make plans to join them for a New Year's Eve party. Gift cards make a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and don't forget to look ahead to 2025 as spring leagues begin in February. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by App Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back in the locker room here on a Thursday afternoon. Myself, Jake Bakoven, and Chancellor Brewington, the host of the show. Mikey Daniel, another host of the show, usually is out today, but we'll probably hear from him again tomorrow. Chancellor, I'll throw it back to you as we get this second segment rolling.
Yeah, so the question before the break was, obviously Nebraska's, the exodus is happening, the mass leaving of players. And I predict just pure speculation that there's going to be probably another tomorrow and another to the next day, right? And a couple more next week, right? So that's just the nature of the beast that's going to happen. Probably some bigger names too. But guess what? Glass half full. You open up some space for some recruits and some transfer portal guys to come in. So the question is how, and this is for everyone, how attractive is Nebraska right now, right? How attractive is it, right? And I think defensively, that's probably the question mark. Okay, like where is Matt's Rule's philosophy? Does he want to stay in the 3-3-5, right? In Nebraska, this is the part that nobody wants to talk about, but I have to say it. Financially, I mean, this is NIL. Are you going to match Indiana? Are you going to match, I can't say Ohio State and Michigan, right? Those are the big dogs. Take Oregon out of there too. Take SC out of there too. Are you going to match a school like Purdue? Are you going to match a Northwestern? Are you going to match Illinois? Are you going to match all those guys and go, above those financially, right? Just because, I mean, if you really, I think you have to lock in on the season, and especially, the thing we've kind of been told is kind of this, I would say this continual growth story with Rules, year 1 to year 2 to year 3 to year 4. And I believe year 3 is the year that, everything comes together and meshes and gels. Well, if you're on the staff recruiting, you got to throw everything at it, because there's going to be a lot of, I would say, hot seats if, you were to repeat this year, which I don't envision that happening. But I think the question is, how attractive to this place. So if I'm a guy seeing A&M, a pass rusher from A&M just went into the portal along with, a receiver from Kentucky, like those type of guys. If you're in the portal and Nebraska calls you, and now you look at obviously the guy, I think as a guy in the portal, you look at, okay, how did the guy in, my position last year perform? How did, who's the coach, right? What's his philosophy? All that good stuff. Is the coach fresh? Is the coach on the hot seat? Is the dude recruiting me still going to be there in a month? Because that's the question too. And then also like resources. Okay, Nebraska, this, and that. And I think obviously the fans, the fantastic fans that Nebraska has, shout out to all y'all. That's what I think, that's a cherry on top that I think a lot of people sleep on, is like, what, maybe across the country, people that aren't keyed into how Nebraska does things. When a guy gets he posted a picture on, his whatever, or he, gets 1,000 ads on Twitter, right? Like that contributes to something. So, I think the places, the things that Nebraska probably has a downfall and probably not very attractive is maybe the amount of money, and I would say maybe the just the overall, win and loss. Like, let's just be real. Like, you don't really know what you're going to hop into. It seems like, there's a bunch of question marks, lack of discipline. This just from the outside. Like, you don't say you never watched a Nebraska game. Say you play at, Ole Miss, right? Say you play at Ole Miss and you've never watched Nebraska play football. You just merely look at the record, look on Twitter a little bit, and you see, oh, this program doesn't look like they're in the best shape right now. And they probably, I don't know if they're throwing me, the top amount of money, right? How attractive is this place? I think then it goes to opportunity. And I think now you have a chance for, I think the Raiola situation helps you out a lot in the recruiting game, especially offensively, O-line wise, and, getting some receivers. Cause obviously, Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair, they gone. And so you need some heavy hitters there. And I think with the Holgrenson situation, you recruit a lot differently than you did the past 2 years under Rule. Holgrenson is going to probably want a shiftier guy. Like, we've seen Tank Dale co-sign Dana Holgrenson and the receiver coach. Like, you probably want a shiftier guy. I think the air raid, as far as I can remember, like the air raid, you always need that like vertical stretcher, but can also run routes, is shifty, can put him in the slot, can put him on the outside, can do a lot of things with him. A dynamic playmaker, kind of like, not so much, kind of like a Trey Palmer, but more so like a Samari Toure, a guy who can run a route. Not saying Trey can't, but like a little bit more like route savvy, more than a vertical stretcher. But you also need a vertical stretcher too in the air raid too. So you need not only like 2 to 3 guys, like you need 4 legitimate receivers who can go and get balls for Raiola and really stretch this offense, stretch the defense, but also I'm expecting Raiola to take a jump, and I think with the jump, getting some receivers will help him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think especially at quarterback. I mean, it's the same challenges Nebraska always has with geography and all that. But if you can get a guy here, usually they're generally pretty impressed. So you go back to the facilities and all that. Nebraska can be pretty desirable. But if you just look at it on opposite sides of the balls, it feels like the offense, which had a bad year, is a lot more desirable right now than the defense, which had a good year, just because of of course, the Tony White move. So once you figure out the defensive coordinator, especially if you're kind of continuing the 3-3-5, which I think they are going to do. Matt Rule said that they don't want to change the defense, and why, in my mind, why would you change it if it's been working and you've been recruiting to it? So I think, especially with Dylan Riley, you mentioned it. I mean, that's a huge boost for any receiver specific offensive lineman. You also, there's guys that'll be interested because there's playing time, because there are slots open like that. So there's a lot of key, I think Nebraska is as desirable as they usually are. I don't think there's this huge hit. Like you said, definitely, like over the last 10 years, if you're winning, you could boost your desirability quite a bit. But when you look at like their class rankings here in the Big Ten, and according to On3, they're 6th in the Big Ten, and they're behind Ohio State, or Oregon to begin with. Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Penn State, and then there's Nebraska. State, yeah. And that's where they should be annually, if not higher. Like, that's kind of because after them, you look at it, it's Washington, Wisconsin, Maryland, Rutgers, Iowa. Those are the teams you were mentioning. You got to outbid. You got to be above those type of teams. And so if Nebraska can win, they're one of those traditional teams that we're talking about with those teams above them. I believe eventually they could, fight in there with that sort of team. Again, maybe there's a ceiling to Ohio State or Oregon with Phil Knight, certain things that would be tough to maybe, go blow for blow, but to really rise up, that will be the case. So I think that there's desire there. And on defense, for as much as we say there's question marks there, and there are, because you don't have a defensive coordinator, but they were able to commit to keep Dawson Merritt and Christian Jones. And so their top defensive guys didn't waver from the class for coming in. So they must have some sort of belief in Matt Rule. And Matt Rule was able to say, like he did at the press conference yesterday, he's hired some defensive coordinators in the past, and those defensive coordinators have gone on to be rather successful and assistant of the year finalists. So
yeah, I love that point where I believe you said Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, and then Nebraska comes in at 5. See, I think that's the those 4 right there.
Well, USC is another one that's above them right now.
Or USC as well. Those are prestigious programs. I'm not saying Nebraska isn't, but just like the current state of where they are, although SC, but they're in Southern California, the recruiting pool is just, I mean, you can't even really compete with that
unless you're a Heisman winner a couple years ago.
Yeah, unless you're in Florida. I mean, and there's no Big Ten team in Florida. So, I mean, I would say Cali. I mean, these Cali schools probably have the best recruiting pool there is. But when I think about that, I mean, I think of financially, because this is where the game is going. I mean, those schools probably have the most, right? And that's the way it should be. The guys that have the teams that have the most money, they will recruit the best. Point blank, period. I mean, resources nowadays, financial resources are literally everything. Like it's everything. Of course, you want a good coach. Of course, you want a good culture, and of course, you want a good scheme and all these things. But to get these players, you have to have financial resources. Because at the end of the day, you can. It's so crazy, but you can look in On3 and Rivals and see what you're worth.
Yeah.
You can see you can go. Hey, there's a Kelly Blue Book for college football players.
You're not wrong.
You can go and see what you're worth, and then you can bring the Kelly Blue Book, just like when you go buy a car. You bring that Kelly Blue Book and you bring it to them. And say, look, on Kelly Blue Book, they say, hey, this car worth $40,000, and you charge them $45,000, right? I need you to come down a little bit, and then they'll give you they'll give you the little quote, whatever, they say, well, Kelly Blue Book doesn't sell cars, and right.
Yeah, well, we don't go by Kelly Blue Book.
We don't go by Kelly Blue Book. All that good stuff. But On3 doesn't recruit players, and this is this. But no, like this is the nature of the beast. This is where college football is going. And I think the quicker the fans and I think everyone around college football gets with it, the more you can accept it and embrace it and say, okay, like, I can't get mad at a player for leaving. Why? Because I mean, think about before we think about this, Bach. you come to the school, right? You get paid X amount of dollars. Let's say the opportunity, wasn't really there. You leave, right? And then you go to maybe a little bit smaller school, right? Whatever, maybe mid-level, right? You ball out. Now you leave again, and you get paid 3 different times, right?
Yeah.
So I know loyalty. I love loyalty. That's one of my core values, right? But that check is going to talk.
Oh yeah,
it's going to talk, and for some people, that it talks louder than the loyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as always, remember too, as people want to throw a Nebraska maybe under the bus for these last couple of days, maybe they didn't take care of all these guys. Well, there's a whole team of guys that are sticking too, so they must be doing something right. Right. Let's take a quick break here on the Locker Room. We'll be back after this break.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Husker Nation, it's time. This Sunday, the Nebraska women's basketball team tips off Big Ten play against Minnesota at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The energy will be electric, and they need you there to help cheer them to victory. Single game tickets and starting 5 mini plans are available now, so don't wait. Go to huskers.com/tickets and secure your seat. Go Big Red.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Fall is here, which means it's time to dive into a new lineup of autumn flavors at Wings & Rings. Your home away from home during football season. Their all-star lineup of wing sauces is adding 2 new impact players, curry garlic and pumpkin chili. Need something delicious before kickoff? How about starting your meal with their brand new chorizo nachos and loaded fries? You better act fast. These new tastes of autumn won't be here long. So make the trip to one of their 2 Lincoln locations today on O Street or Village Lane.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks, exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, wanting to thank you all again for your continued service. November is off and running. Check this out. Get up to $12,000 off or 0% financing on select new vehicles. We have great lease specials with new Trax and Trailblazers starting at $299 per month and new Blazer EVs leasing for $399. Great payments, discounts, and of course, 0% financing. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All finance with approved credit, leases with $2,500 down.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Midwest Bank invites you to celebrate with us. Join us for our Christmas open house on Friday, December 6th at our 70th and Pioneers or 27th and Jamie Lane locations. We'll have cookies, coffees, and apple cider waiting for you, along with the chance to enter our raffle for some wonderful prizes. Come share the holiday cheer with us. We can't wait to see you there. Happy holidays from Midwest Bank. Learn more at www.midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Early break.
There's quite a situation going on.
What?
Jake's been asked to step away on Fridays from now on.
Yeah,
they want to break. Young Ben has been dubbed as the curse breaker. He's been dubbed as the curse breaker, and Jake's been asked kindly to step away.
Just for Fridays.
Just
though.
Fridays.
Just Fridays only.
Game
day only. Game day eve only.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by F Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back in the locker room on 93.7 The Ticket. Chancellor Brewington in studio. Mikey Daniel out today. I'm Jake Belkovin. Just filling the spot a little bit. So we got Chancellor has somebody to bounce his thoughts off. Chancellor, what are you thinking of for this third segment?
Yeah, so I guess I want to get into the video of the kind of notion that I've been seeing throughout Twitter and throughout just social media that it's been interesting. So, Tony White leaves for a better opportunity. I would say something that fits him a little bit better. He gets to, move his family. I'm sure for, not to disrespect Lincoln. I think Lincoln's an awesome place. I live here, right? But for his family, that's what Rule said. His family would prefer to be in Florida, right? So that's something that would benefit him and his family. And then obviously Coach Knighton, I think speculation, I don't know if it's out yet, speculation that, he would be joining him with that staff or wherever he goes, right? It's probably going to be a better situation for him. And I think we kind of tip our hat to Tony White, as the media and fans and just as a collective, we kind of tip our hat to him and say thank you for, the good job he's done. But it's then all of a sudden a player hops in that's been in the same situation. Been with Nebraska for the same amount of time for 2 years, let's say that, right? Maybe some guys even 3 or 4 years, been in the Frost regime, and they get flack. But it's the same thing, right? You're leaving for an opportunity that you see within your own self that you would see fit you better. Maybe a little bit more financial. Maybe you want to be closer to home. A lot of guys that hop in the portal, I don't think any of the guys are from here except for Malachi Coleman, So putting that in perspective, I guess the question is how is it different? And this is for everyone. How is it different for, a coach leaving for a better situation than a player leaving for a better situation?
And I think it's just, I don't think it is all that different. I think that now you have to look at college football as a profession because there's guys making a lot of money and more than a lot of people make in their profession, right? So it's a profession now. And so, I think that's always kind of been the understanding from the coach's side. It's like, okay, they're trying to better their future, their family, all that. And, so many of these guys don't necessarily have a family yet, but it definitely will impact their family and their future based on the decisions they make now. And so I think I think we're just going to have to understand and come to terms with the fact that it is now a profession. There's no hard feelings in there. I mean, James Williams was kind of saying the same thing. He loved his time here. He just kind of has to make a business decision.
Right.
And that's what this is now is a business. And you see guys, I mean, people, and it does make you maybe disconnect with college sports or whatever it might be. It was the same thing in the NFL or in professional sports when they added free agency. Older fans love to say, hey, I knew the Reds starting lineup from 1970 to 1979, and then free agency comes in, there's all these different names. And but that's a profession. That's when free agency, you look for the highest bidder. You look for what's going to help best fit you. And it's not always the money. Sometimes you'll take a discount to play where you want to play or whatever. But to expect everybody to do that, I mean, it's just, again, put yourself in that situation. If you've got job opportunities that are willing to pay you more, move you to Florida, all that sort of stuff, I would at least look into it.
You look into it?
Yeah.
I think everyone would. And I think it's kind of like this, like, I just laugh, but I think it's like a lighthearted situation. I don't think anyone should be, rigid about this, and just, at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect any of us. Let's be honest. I mean, Nebraska, at the end of the day, Nebraska is supposed to be good. They're going to be good next year. And, it will affect this bowl game, though.
Oh, yeah.
It will affect this bowl game. I mean, you look at the 2 deep D line and, the 2 deep linebacker core. Oh, my God. I mean, and to finish kind of this show off, how many guys are going to wait till after the bowl game to hit the portal? I mean, I could see a lot of guys playing in the game just to get that one more game, or, maybe a guy who all of a sudden just got bumped up a spot. This is their time to shine, right? Or maybe a guy who's waiting on, who's in the 2 deep, right? And all of a sudden the guy in front of him leaves. They're like, I was planning on leaving, but now I'm going to stay because, my spot's open. But I think after this bowl game, you're going to get a real clear picture. But within this next week, because let's be real, I'm going to be honest. If you're a player, you don't want to just go, I'm be honest, you don't want to go to practice if you not playing here. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to show with your body language. It's going to show with your effort. It's going to show with just the way you communicate with this, the way you prepare. It's going to affect some things. So you don't want to be at a place right now, especially where you don't want to be at, right? So I think a lot of these moves are probably going to be made probably this week and next week, right? And I'm not sure when the bowl schedule gets released. Do you know?
So after, I believe it's basically Sunday, but I could be wrong. But if memory serves me correctly, I mean, after Saturday, you can know all the games, and then the bowl selection usually happens after the college football playoff selection.
Yeah, so guys who probably, I mean, if guys aren't hitting the portal by Monday, then they're probably going to play in the game, right? And then everything's going to, shake out the way it's going to shake out. But I honestly, I don't really know if this is the new way. I would love to see what happens in programs across the nation then this next week and a half, and especially at the bowl game, because the mass exodus from Nebraska, I think in a lot of places, especially where a coach gets fired, this is going to look like nothing. I mean, what we think is just like, oh my gosh, so many people are leaving. It's going to be a normal thing to where 20 to 25 guys leave a place and hop in the portal. So I'll be interested to see it. I can't wait to see the bowl game. I want to see some young guys get in there and play. The guys who, want to be at Nebraska, I want to see them play. And the guys who, leave Nebraska, I want to see them do well. Like I really believe that this is an opportunity for new guys to come in, but also the guys, the young guys. I think of a guy like Van Poppel, how much he's going to flourish in the Nebraska culture, in the Nebraska system. I think of a young guy like Vincent Shavers. Like, he's a young backer, and that's a guy you need to retain. Like, those are two guys like you need to, okay, what are they worth? Okay, we need to get them what they need, right? Because those are guys you need to retain. If those guys hop in pro now, I'm like, okay, hold on, right? Like a guy like Emmett Johnson, right, and finish the year well. I want to see him step into a new role. And I'm trying to think of other guys. Obviously, Raiola. I mean, the sky would probably fall if he hopped in the portal,
Yeah.
of course. But I don't expect that happening. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Look, and there are going to be plenty of seniors. I know a lot of people have been crossing off the seniors on the list, but at least for the bowl game, remember, there's going to be a lot of seniors playing there. Would you think that there'd be anybody that doesn't, maybe, sits out? Well, you see that a lot in college football now these days, but this senior class has worked really hard to get to a bowl game.
Yeah, I think the only guy I would question would be Ty, and he's not sitting out. He's been adamant that he's going to play through it, and he's gonna coach some young guys up. So, I mean, hats off to him, right? Because he's got a short trip, and he's going to go to Reese's Senior Bowl, and he has to go to Combine. I mean, he's not going to have a whole bunch of time to train for the Combine. He's not going to have a whole bunch of time to, get his body back right. Nash, the same thing. So, I think, I mean, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. I don't care if, you got your 3 deep in there. I want to see some guys go in and play. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some guys go in and play.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. A little bit of a look into the future, a little bit of a ode to the seniors going out. And don't forget, too, that team that we're going to be playing. I don't know who it is, but they'll have their own transfer portal problems and probably guys that aren't on the team that were throughout the season. So let's go ahead and wrap up the locker room today. Thanks again for Chancellor Brewington for stepping in. Mike Daniel hopefully will be back tomorrow on the block coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249.